Rohm with Landmark Commercial Realty. Today, I have with me Bill Sutton with Mowery Construction. Bill, 2021 and 2022 were defined by volatility, in the labor and the materials markets. Can you name some of the main culprits of, that volatility and what the outlook might be for 2023?
Sure. If I had to sum up 21, 22, what we saw was kind of a pent-up demand coming out of COVID. Everybody pushed pause in COVID. There was a pent-up demand, and it really put a burden on our supply chain. And that's what drove the volatility. It was like the bottleneck cut loose. There was huge demand. The supply chain couldn't keep up with it. Some of our overseas supply was cut off, from the war in Ukraine. Yep. Some things happening other things happening overseas, and some of our U.S.-based manufacturing was still hampered from COVID. And so what we learned was, yes, the volatility really hampered our ability to make timely decisions, to control costs. Because a lot of our suppliers couldn't tell us what their cost was in 3 months or 6 months. So how, as a contractor working with a client who has a year-long project, how do I guarantee their price? Most of our projects are on a guaranteed maximum price. And they rely on that to get their financing, to ensure they've locked up the risk in the deal. So we really learned how to mitigate risk the best we could, identify where the risk areas were in terms of cost, and then with clients we would set aside contingencies to handle those undefined risks. So that's how we were able to do that. Now, as we head into 23, there's been a slowdown because that demand with limited supply thrust up the costs. And those costs, both on the land side, as I'm sure you've seen in the real estate industry, land costs gone up, construction costs go up, and then your cost to borrow money goes up. These deals on paper no longer make sense. They're upside down. So what we've had to do is kind of pivot certain areas. We saw the industrial real estate kind of take a pause the last 6 months of 22 into 23. We're seeing a correction in that market on the land price side. Yeah. We are seeing construction costs come down as a result of that pause, which has been good. Yeah. So I've tracked the costs over the last 5 quarters. So through 22, I'll just share some vertical costs. So in industrial, let's say we're about $45 a square foot on vertical cost, first quarter of 22. Okay. It continued to tick up 10 or 15 bucks a square foot, quarter after quarter. It peaked in Q3, close to 70 bucks a square foot. Now, where are we? We're back down after Q1 and 23, a year later, where we're back down where we were Q1 of 22. Okay. So it's fallen from its peak, 20-25%, which is good. Right. But we still have the challenges of the cost to borrow, and the rents haven't made up the gap yet. Right. And so talking to our developers, they're saying they're starting to see that happen. Yeah. But a lot of the tenants are reliant on borrowing to make these large moves into new spaces, and they're putting their moves on hold. Okay. So those are some of the challenges we're seeing.
Great.